Fear, a powerful tool. Have you ever felt your heart racing when facing something scary? It could be when standing at the edge of a cliff, speaking in front of a crowd for the first time, or even when making a major life decision. But take a moment to think. Why do we fear? And why are there people who use fear to achieve extraordinary things? Those who master fear are the strongest. They not only overcome it, but transform it into a powerful tool to sharpen themselves, explore their limits, and achieve the unimaginable. Millions of years ago, our ancestors lived in a world full of dangers. Saber-toothed tigers, treacherous cliffs, and darkness were all life-threatening threats. Fear helped them avoid deadly dangers and survive, but they didn't just overcome fear, they learned to use it to control nature. They used loud noises and fire to panic prey, driving them to dangerous areas like cliffs, turning the prey's fear into an advantage. Today, though we no longer face wild predators, fear still exists in many forms. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, and fear of losing something important. However, these fears, if controlled, can help you achieve greater success. Fear, a powerful tool. Have you ever felt your heart racing when facing something scary? It could be when standing at the edge of a cliff, speaking in front of a crowd for the first time, or even when making a major life decision. But take a moment to think. Why do we fear? And why are there people who use fear to achieve extraordinary things? Those who master fear are the strongest. They not only overcome it, but transform it into a powerful tool to sharpen themselves, explore their limits, and achieve the unimaginable. Millions of years ago, our ancestors lived in a world full of dangers. Saber-toothed tigers, treacherous cliffs, and darkness were all life-threatening threats. Fear helped them avoid deadly dangers and survive, but they didn't just overcome fear, they learned to use it to control nature. They used loud noises and fire to panic prey, driving them to dangerous areas like cliffs, turning the prey's fear into an advantage. Today, though we no longer face wild predators, fear still exists in many forms. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, and fear of losing something important. However, these fears, if controlled, can help you achieve greater success. What is fear? Fear is a natural response of the body when facing a threat, whether real or imagined. It is a survival mechanism hardwired into the human brain through millions of years of evolution. When faced with danger, our brain, specifically the amygdala, sends signals to the nervous system, triggering the fight or flight response. Facing fear. The Navy SEAL story, confronting the fear of drowning. One of the toughest challenges Navy SEALs have to endure is the underwater test. They are bound at both hands and feet, then thrown into a deep pool. When falling into the water, the natural reaction of anyone is panic, a racing heartbeat, rapid breathing, and the body struggling to float to the surface. But Navy SEALs are not allowed to let fear control them. They know that losing control would not only lead to failure, but could also result in life-threatening situations. How they overcame it. Stay calm. This is the most important lesson. No matter how overwhelming the panic may be, controlling the mind and maintaining a slow breathing rhythm is essential for survival. Accept reality. Instead of trying to swim up, which is impossible with bound hands and feet, they let their body sink to the bottom of the pool. Apply strategy. Upon reaching the bottom, they use their legs to push themselves upwards. This process is repeated several times until they are completely out of the water. Fear is not the enemy. It is a sensation you need to control. Staying calm and applying the right strategy not only helps them pass the test, but also builds strong confidence to face tougher challenges in the future. Turning the fear of public speaking into strength, Min, a young office worker, was always afraid of speaking in front of an audience. Every time he prepared to present an idea, his heart raced, his hands trembled, and his mind went blank. Min's journey to overcome fear. Identify the fear. Min realized that he wasn't afraid of the content of his presentation, but of the judgmental eyes and evaluations of others. This stemmed from his lack of self-confidence. Start with small steps. Instead of trying to present to a large group, Min practiced speaking in front of a mirror. Then he rehearsed with close friends and eventually tried presenting in small group meetings. Use fear as motivation. Min prepared more thoroughly for each presentation, from writing a script and rehearsing multiple times to recording himself to adjust his voice. Embrace failure. In his first attempt at presenting to a large audience, Min forgot part of his content. Instead of blaming himself, Min learned from the experience and improved for the next time. After a few months, Min not only overcame his fear, but also became an excellent presenter in his team. Fear was no longer an enemy, but a motivation for Min to improve himself. Both stories show that fear is natural and everyone experiences it. The difference lies in how you face it. Stay calm and don't let fear dominate you. Use the right strategies and gradually overcome challenges step by step. Focus on bigger goals instead of dwelling on negative thoughts. Using fear to overcome yourself. Fear is not an enemy, but a powerful ally if you know how to control and use it. To transform fear into a tool for self-development, you need to apply specific and scientific methods. Understand your fear. Fear often arises from uncertainties. Understanding its root causes helps you shift from a state of panic to control. For instance, the fear of public speaking may not stem from a lack of knowledge, but rather from concern over being judged by others. By asking questions like, "What am I afraid of?" or "What is the source of this fear?" you may find that fear is not as overwhelming or ambiguous as you once thought. Accept fear instead of avoiding it. Avoiding fear only makes it grow larger. When you accept that fear is a natural part of life, you gradually become accustomed to it and find ways to confront it. Someone afraid of heights may feel their fear diminish as they gradually become accustomed to standing at various heights. Instead of telling yourself, "I must not be afraid," say, "I have the right to be afraid, but I will act anyway." Breakdown. Fear and act. Step by step. Confronting a significant fear head-on can paralyze you. But if you break it down into smaller, more manageable steps, it becomes achievable. Someone afraid of public speaking might start by talking in front of a mirror, then to a close group of friends, and later presenting in small meetings. Each small step you overcome is a victory that boosts your confidence and prepares you to face bigger challenges. Use fear as motivation. Fear not only causes panic, but also stimulates your body to release adrenaline, keeping you alert, focused, and more effective in your actions. An athlete fearing failure in a competition may use that fear to train harder, refine their techniques, and mentally prepare better. Redefine fear as a signal that you are approaching significant challenges and transform it into energy for action. Embrace failure and learn from it. No one overcomes fear on their first try. Failure is not something to fear. It's a natural part of learning and growth. Someone afraid of public speaking, like Min, might forget their speech during their first presentation. But if they focus on what they did well and gradually improve, they will become more confident. Every failure is an opportunity to learn and bring you closer to success. Harness the power of imagination. Fear is often greater than reality because your mind exaggerates the worst-case scenarios. Use imagination to visualize positive outcomes instead of focusing on the fear of failure. Someone afraid of interviews might imagine themselves confidently answering questions and receiving smiles from the interviewer. By focusing on positive imagery, you will feel more confident and less anxious when stepping into the real situation. Fear, a tool for self-improvement. Fear is not an emotion to eliminate, but a tool to be controlled and utilized. When you understand fear, accept it, break challenges into smaller steps, and turn it into motivation, you will gradually overcome all limitations. Remember that failure is not the end, but a part of the journey. Each time you face your fears, you are getting closer to the strongest and most confident version of yourself. Turning fear into motivation. See fear as a teacher. It does not come to make you falter, but to challenge and shape you into becoming stronger. How you overcome fear will define who you are, not the fear itself. Everyone who has achieved success has faced fear, but they did not let it control their lives. They used it as a compass, guiding them toward greater achievements. Believe that you can do it. Each small step you take to overcome fear becomes the foundation for greater accomplishments. No matter how tough the journey, remember that each time you face your fears, you are taking a significant step forward in personal growth. Now is the time to take your first step. Think about your greatest fear and take action today, even if it's just a small step. You are not alone on this journey. Share your story in the comments. What fear has held you back? How did you overcome it? Or how do you plan to overcome it? If you found this content helpful, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and share to help more people learn how to turn their fears into strength. Let's build a strong and positive community where fear is no longer a limitation, but a driving force for growth.